So you're building a teardrop camper, or you're upgrading one that you've purchased, and you don't know where to find stuff. You don't know where to find parts and accessories. Well, stick around. Hey, welcome back everyone. The weather is finally starting to break here in East Tennessee. Even though we had a lot of snow and ice here 3 or 4 weeks ago, it's now in the 50s and the 2-week forecast is looking good. I think camping season is just right around the corner. And speaking of camping season, the channel has been getting a lot of questions from people who are starting their own builds, or people who are wanting to retrofit their current camper with some new accessories. You know, and a lot of those questions are, where do I get parts? Where do I find this stuff? Well, that's something I hope to help you with today. Back when I built my own Camp Easy teardrop, I mean, I had a really good time, but I will say I had some challenges being able to find some parts. I mean, a lot of the things you need for a teardrop aren't just items you go to Walmart and buy. So I hope that what I can show you today is going to help you in finding your own parts and accessories for your build or your upgrade. So let's walk around this thing. So let me get the whole trailer in view so you can see the frame. The frame starts right here at the tongue, and it works its way all the way to the back before you start curving out for the galley. This is a frame that came from Mastiff Trailer in Gainesboro, Tennessee. And I bought this because he's a utility trailer manufacturer that I have experience with, builds a good product. And I called him up and asked if he could weld me up a frame with no sides or gate on the back. He was happy to do that. He did it out of 2x3 tubular steel. He put a full wrap tongue almost all the way back to the axle for reinforcement, and it's a good heavy frame. So when he built the frame, he put it on a 3,500 pound axle, which means it's a very robust axle. I shouldn't have to worry about it holding up. And it even has flanges on it where I can add brakes later. The only bad thing is it came with 3,500 pound leaf springs. They were like $17.50 per side. And if I left those on there, that would have beat my camper to death because it only weighs 1,500 pounds. So I went to Northern Tool and I picked up some 1,000 pound leaf springs that were the same length. That made it 2,000 overall, and now I've got a 500 pound cushion, and the camper rides so nice and soft. I couldn't be happier with that. And speaking of the brakes, they're not on the camper yet. That's going to be a future episode. Picked those up at eTrailer. Now eTrailer is a good source for a lot of, well, anything to do with a trailer, so check out eTrailer. So listen, a quick disclaimer. I am not being sponsored by any of these companies or any of these brands that I'm telling you about. This is just my own personal experience where I got the stuff to build my camper. I'm not endorsing these places. I'm just passing along information to maybe make it easier for you to find stuff. These guys don't even know I exist. So let's move up to the front here. I've got a poly tongue box made by Dee Zee, and that is D-E-E-Z-E-E. You can get those on eTrailer, get them on eBay, get them on Amazon. These are pretty readily available. I've got a 100 amp hour AGM battery in there. I bought off of eBay. It's made by Wise, W-E-I-Z-E. You can also get those off Amazon. Pretty much all the electronics in here I bought from Amazon. Now this is a shunt display I did an episode on in the shunt down here, and I've noticed I'm getting some corrosion. If any of you all have a good way of getting rid of corrosion, let me know. I asked Mastiff Trailer to leave the tongue jack off, and I picked one up myself. I bought this one at a little store called Rural King. Similar to Tractor Supply, but you can get those at a hardware store. So let's just stand back a few feet. One of the biggest questions I get asked is, where did you buy the aluminum skin and the aluminum trim for your camper? Well, the aluminum skin is 40 thousandths pre-painted aluminum. That's what I've got on the body of the camper, and that's what I put on the doors. I bought it at a local sign shop. This particular aluminum is called Risco. W-R-I-S-C-O, that's the name brand. Probably different name brands, different parts of the country. I could not be happier. I bought this in 4x10 sheets. It bends well, it works well, cut it with metal shears, and I absolutely love it. The metal trim, virtually all of it, when I say virtually, the trim for the door, the trim for the exterior, the perimeter of the camper, these pieces that go around the galley edge. Virtually all this trim came from a company called Vintage Technologies. You can find those guys on the internet. They may even sell on eBay, but you can go to their storefront on the net. And speaking of Vintage Technologies, I bought a ton of stainless steel fasteners from them, and they're basically just wood screws with the square head. They did great. They're self-tapping. They were very affordable, buying them in bulk. Another good item that I bought from Vintage Technologies, you can see the butyl tape seeping out from around the trim right here. Their butyl tape is real soft. As a matter of fact, if you were to pick a piece of it up, it would probably even drip, and I really like that. I think it seals better. I'm really happy with the butyl tape from Vintage Technologies. And I also picked up a lot of caulk called Trim Pro 635, and I use it on areas like above this piece of aluminum here and around the doors. I even capped off some areas around the trim with Trim Pro 635. I bought that from Vintage Technologies as well. Lots and lots of people ask where I bought the little propane tank. I bought that propane tank. I ordered it from Ace Hardware online. It's a Manchester brand tank. I think it's just a 1 gallon or 5 pound tank they call it. Love that little guy. The bracket I bought from Cal Teardrops. They sell several teardrop camping accessories. The little rail I clipped my side table on, eBay purchase. The graphics, I designed those on the computer. I did an episode on that. I designed all the graphics. I saved them as a PDF file. I emailed them to the same sign shop where I bought the aluminum. They printed them out. I took the camper there. They applied them for me. Pretty easy. The window came from eBay. I literally typed in frameless RV window, and a pair of these dudes popped up, and I bought them. So real quick, let's talk about eBay. I've talked to folks that are afraid to buy from eBay, afraid they're going to get burned. Back when eBay started, it was just a bunch of people selling stuff out of their garage, and yeah, there were a lot of scoundrels out there, a lot of shenanigans to have to put up with. But eBay's a little different now. There's a lot of people who make their living on eBay, and they actually have storefronts. For me personally, what I have found that works, and it works almost every time, is that when I find a product I like, I scroll down through the ad on my phone and I find the seller's name. The side of that will show how many reviews they have, and it will show their score. If they only have a few reviews, I don't buy from them. I don't take the chance. If they have a lot of reviews and their score is good, yeah, I'll buy. And when I say a good score, I don't buy anything from anyone that has less than a 99.7% score. 99.7 and above, I have great service, quick delivery. It's a good transaction. I'm real happy with it. eBay also offers buyer protection, and they offer money back, but be sure to make sure that's available when you look at the individual seller's ad. The wheels are 15-inch aluminum wheels with Toyo Extensa tires. I bought both of those. I picked them up from an eBay seller. The little stabilizer jacks in the corner, eBay. Those hinges are called refrigerator or freezer hinges. Some people even, put them on back of big trucks. I bought a 4-pack of them off of eBay. The drip cap from the window I got off eBay. You can get those from Vintage Technologies. The fenders, these are fiberglass reproduction fenders from a 1932 Ford truck. And I bought those from a local seller on Facebook Marketplace for 50 bucks. And I brought them home, I cut them down. I did several episodes on that. I found a green ink pen that I really liked. I took it to the local paint shop. It's a place called Part City, probably a national chain, and they can mix and match almost any color paint you want. They'll put it in a spray can. It's a 2-part catalyzed paint, it's automotive paint, and then I brought that home and painted the fenders. So let me close the hatch for a minute. I want to show you something that's a really important feature of this camper, and that's the hurricane hinge. And that's this 2-piece hinge right here. It enables you to lower and raise the hatch without getting rain down in your galley. And you can find hurricane hinges all over. You can buy them on eBay, Amazon, Vintage Technologies, all over the place. But this one's special. This one has a little flange at the top, which is a built-in rain gutter. Most people that see my camper said they've never seen one with a rain gutter. You can get this from a company called Overland Trailer. It's not where I bought mine, but I looked it up on Google this morning, and there's a company offering these called Overland Trailer. Now they're pricey, but not having leaks in your galley is worth every penny. So let me come to the other side. You can see a little bit better. This hurricane hinge hangs over the side about 3/8 of an inch. And really I wish I would have left it hanging over maybe just a little bit longer. But by doing that, whenever it does rain, the rain actually comes out about 2 inches and it pours on the ground and stays away from the camper. That's a great feature. Now, come back over here. This third brake light, I think I just picked the light itself up off of Amazon. And I took angled aluminum and I built the housing myself custom. Could not find something like that anywhere. And I used some scrap left over from the aluminum skin. I did an episode on the handles that I put on the galley hatch. These are just things I picked up on eBay. They're just, outdoor shed handles. Diamond plate is very expensive if you order it. I found this at a local metal fabrication shop. They had a bunch of this in stock. I got it real cheap. So I'm going to try to videotape the vent fan and still keep the microphone close to me. The vent fan is a Max Air Max fan. I bought that from a store online called RV Upgrade Store. Had good service out of them, good delivery, and a great price. You can see a bunch of little electronic gadgets and buttons. This stuff I all picked up off of eBay and Amazon. This backsplash is plastic peel and stick backsplash. That's an eBay purchase. My green faucet, everybody asks about that. I literally typed green faucet into eBay and that's what popped up. Couldn't have been easier. This is a stainless steel salad bowl that my wife gave me. I cut a hole in the bottom of it. I put in a marine 90-degree drain in there. Again, eBay purchase. The cooler, I think I showed you that on a recent episode. I bought that from overstock.com. So I'm new to Overstock. I bought that and the mattress both there, but they came in quick. My drain tank for my gray water is just an oil tank, a waste oil tank I picked up at a local hardware store. Now let's talk about cabinet hardware. I bought the hinges. Let me show you if I can get in there. Show you the hinges. I bought the hinges off eBay, but after I bought them, I found a company called Dee Lawless Hardware that sells cabinet hardware. They sell drawer slides. It's good stuff and it's affordable, and if I was doing it again, I would check out Dee Lawless Hardware. While we're in here, the 2-burner cooktop, I bought that at RV Upgrade Store. My galley struts to keep the hatch open came from eBay. There's a seller on there that sells a ton of these things in different sizes, and there's a an Excel spreadsheet on the internet you can look up, Teardrop galley strut calculator, and it'll show you what size you need to buy. So let's talk about getting creative. When this hatch lowers, it actually hits this handle and it's going to try to dent the hatch. So I found some gutter plugs at Lowe's and I put in there. When it closes, the handle goes up inside that plug. Everybody thinks it's a handle to lower your hatch, but it's basically just to cover up the fact that this thing's going to hit the handles. Now, speaking of the handles, I built these myself with a 3D printer. I cannot begin to tell you how cool 3D printing is and how many possibilities there is with it. I wanted to go with a real fancy tail light, but I decided that I've had so many problems with tail lights over all the years I've been pulling trailers. I wanted some off-the-shelf tail lights. That way, if I'm on a trip and they break down, I can go to Advanced Auto Parts or AutoZone or O'Reilly and I can pick up another set and bolt them on. And that's what I've got here. You can get these on Amazon, eBay, your local parts store, but be sure to get LED. They're really bright. Miscellaneous hardware like this 30 amp RV entrance. I picked up Amazon. Now while I'm up here, let me show you this piece of aluminum. This is not part of the galley hinge. This is just something I wanted to put on here. For aluminum trim pieces, or aluminum bar stock rather, an aluminum angle, you can get that at Lowe's, Home Depot, Tractor Supply, but you're really going to pay up for it. You can go to a local aluminum place that supplies your local industry, and a lot of times they have heavier and better aluminum. They can cut you off at a cheaper price. Or there's a company I've found called Orange Aluminum that has a great selection and price. So going to the inside of the door, if you remember, I did a recent episode where I built these straps that keep the door from opening too far. You can build those out of dog leashes. I think this is some straps I had from like a lunch box that I had. The window again came from eBay. And the curtains, my wife made those out of some fabric she picked up, and those are velcroed on top. Looks like it's actually come loose from the velcro a little bit, but those velcro all the way across the top, and we put some ties back there. This is a eBay handle, and if you remember, I did an episode on a simple but effective locking door latch. Go to the outside. This is a shed or outbuilding T-handle, and it comes with this D-shaped handle on the inside. 2-pack of those are like 25 bucks, and when you close it from the inside, I put just a simple lock on there, so now nobody can unlock this thing from the outside, but it still does lock from the outside with the key. Really simple. Moving inside the camper, the cabinetry, it's more of the same as what I did in the galley, but I will say though specifically that this mount here for the iPad is the iBolt brand, and they sell those on Amazon. I have one in the kitchen, one in this camper. I have one in my car that's suction cup. These things are phenomenal. I cannot believe the quality and how well they hold. This is a 30 or 35 amp power distribution panel. It does both AC and DC, and it also charges the battery. It's a WFCO 8735. You can get those, I think you can get them at RV Upgrade Store, Amazon, eBay, campingworld.com, just about anywhere that sells RV supplies. Now I do want to mention I've got AC electricity and I've got DC electricity. And speaking of AC and DC electrical, I'd love to show you what it all looks like, but I can't. It's all enclosed in the body of the camper. I built it in as I was building the thing. But what I can tell you is my own personal experience, and you may find something different, is that for the DC wiring, I did better buying that on Amazon and eBay as far as the cost. And as far as the AC electrical, I bought, it was like either 12.2 or 12.3 Romex wire. I just went to my local Lowe's and bought that. They had this huge roll. They cut off over how many feet I needed, and it was a lot easier going that route. Now for some 12-volt electrical, you'd be surprised how much Amazon, or not Amazon, but AutoZone and Advanced Auto Parts and O'Reilly has, you know, as far as fuses, you know, end connectors, just terminal connectors. They had a lot of that stuff, and they actually had some pretty decent stuff, so I would check those guys out. So going back inside, I left the bedding off of the mattress to show you this fully inflated. We installed this in a recent episode. This is not a memory foam mattress. This is a gel memory foam mattress. We absolutely love these things. We have one in our house. We picked this one up off of overstock.com, and this is a queen size mattress, so it fit the width of the camper nicely. While we're in here, be sure to check out your local Dollar Tree and your local Dollar General store for little storage solutions. Have all different colors. They're very, very affordable. And on the cabinetry, I would like to point out that I have, believe it or not, 4 different kinds of wood used here, but it all looks almost the same color. I have maple trim, I have Baltic birch for the roof, I have aspen for the door frames, Baltic birch on the inside, and I think there's even a little pine. So how did I get 4 different kinds of wood looking so similar to one another? Well, I have to say that they're all very similar wood anyway. The sapwood part of a tree is a little bit lighter in color than the heartwood part of a tree, and these are all cut out of the sapwood, so they're all going to be lighter anyway. But I put a Spar urethane coating, about 3 or 4 coats over all this, and it had a little bit of a milky, hazy look, and it blended the wood tones together nicely. I didn't plan for that to happen, but it really worked out good. And that's something I picked up at Lowe's. A couple more items that you can't see but are in here is the wood frame that I used to box this in with. Now the walls are a 1-inch thick sandwich, and I cut out a 5/8 inch Baltic birch core, and I cut holes in that to make it lighter weight. Those holes I filled in with rigid sheet foam from Lowe's, and then I sheeted the inside of the wall with 1/4 inch Baltic birch all the way, you know, front to back, top to bottom, and I did the outside with 1/8 inch. And the reason I did that is those 3 thicknesses together made up 1 inch, and I wanted the thicker on the inside in case I'm in there kicking around. I didn't want to punch a hole in the wall if it was just 1/8 inch, so I put the 1/4 on the inside. But it made a very, very strong structure. And you know, I would say go to Lowe's, Home Depot, see what kind of lumber they got, you know, but also, you know, don't forget your smaller hardware stores. They can order things for you. If you're towards a larger city, there are specialty hardwood stores that you can reach out to, and some of them even sell 5 foot by 10 foot plywood. And just go to Google, type in 5 by 10 plywood, type in the name of your city, and you'll be surprised what pops up. And I almost forgot, when I first started the build, I had the frame in the shop. I built a floor that was a sandwich as well. I got some pine 1x4 lumber, and I built a duplicate of the metal trailer frame, and I laid it on top of the trailer frame. And I sheeted that with some 1/8 inch Baltic birch, and then I painted that with 3 coats of an asphalt fence post paint by Black Beauty, and I picked that up at Tractor Supply. After that was good and dry, I flipped the whole thing over. I put on a layer of 1/2 inch pine plywood for the subfloor. Now normally I would have done something a little bit heavier than that, but I'm not walking in this camper. I'm laying on it, and there's a 10-inch mattress over top of that, so I felt 1/2 inch was good enough. And I took that sandwich then, and I bolted that to the frame of the camper all the way around, and that's the floor that I used. So let's revisit the sink just for a moment. This does have running water, and it is supplied by an RV water tank that's mounted underneath the camper. It's a 5-gallon RV water tank I bought from Amazon. And if you remember the episode where I installed the tank, I did so with some really long carriage bolts that were stainless steel. They were pretty hard to find, but I found a company online called Albany County Fasteners, and wow, they have I mean, it's just an unreal selection of specialty hardware. Now you're going to have to pay up for it, but then you know, you can't find it anywhere else. But I've used them on multiple occasions, and I highly recommend those guys. So one of the challenges I had when I was building the camper was, how do I know these sites are legit? I mean, it may be a 12-year-old kid, you know, putting stuff on the internet to, you know, steal my money. Some of these guys, to be honest with you, I just took a chance on them. Some of them, they had, you know, Better Business Bureau reviews that I read, and all the ones that I tried ended up being legit, and they were good. Albany County Fasteners, D Lawless Hardware, RV Upgrade Store, Orange Aluminum, that, you know, folks that I never hear about when I'm, you know, around the teardrop circles talking, but they did well for me. You know, don't forget your Tractor Supply, your Lowe's, your Home Depot, Amazon. You can't get away from Amazon if you want to. And if you buy from eBay, check out those seller ratings. But get creative. And a lot of the things on here I fabricated myself if I couldn't find them, so I'm not going to give you a source from that. I can just say it come from these 2 hands. But go back and watch the videos that you haven't watched on the construction of this thing. And one reason why I wanted to make this video is I've had a lot of people ask me, well, where are the episodes when you put the walls together and when you started the frame? Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know I wanted to do a YouTube channel until I'd already had those things done. I wish I would have started earlier, but I didn't. So this is just a little way for me to go back and say, hey, here's where I got my stuff, and hopefully that'll help you in your own build. I do have another really cool accessory to show you. The only thing is, you can't get one. They're not available. check out this super cool camping camera apron. This was sent in by one of the viewers. Now, he asked for me not to tell who he was, so I won't, but you know who you are, and thank you very much. This thing is awesome, and hopefully the next time you see it, it'll be covered in barbecue sauce. So whether you're building your own camper or you've bought one and you're trying to fix it up, hopefully these will be some places that you can go and find parts and accessories for your own camper. And talking about DIY versus factory built, here's what I think. The best camper is the one that you have. It's the one that you can drop on the hitch of your vehicle and take off and enjoy. We're all in this together. If you go to a Tearjerkers meetup, you're going to see factory built, home built, converted cargo trailers, you name it, you're going to see it. We all look at each other equally. They're all tiny camper enthusiasts. It's a great place to be. So take what you've got and get out there and enjoy it. And in today's episode, if you forgot to take notes of these different sources, run over to patreon.com and go to the Camping Camera page, and I've got some of that written down for you. Hopefully that'll be a help. And if you like today's episode, give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow more than you could ever imagine. So, hey, until next time, take care. We'll see you on the road.